If you are an adult over the age of 60 and you prepare to go to bed tonight without first taking the time to absorb the crucial information contained within this presentation, you might unknowingly be making a deeply consequential choice, one that could quite literally cost you your life. I understand that such a statement sounds undeniably extreme. I am fully aware that throughout your life, you have been inundated with countless health warnings, each vying for your attention. However, what I am poised to share with you now is fundamentally different from anything you've likely encountered before. This isn't a discussion centered around a specific disease, nor is it about pre-existing genetic predispositions, and it certainly isn't about the cruel hand of bad luck. This discussion transcends those familiar territories, focusing instead on a set of actions you may be taking right now, tonight, in the quiet hours leading up to the moment you close your eyes and drift into sleep. These actions are silently, insidiously, and often imperceptibly setting the stage for a catastrophic heart attack or a debilitating stroke to occur precisely when you are at your most vulnerable. While you sleep. And perhaps the most unsettling, indeed terrifying aspect of this whole scenario is that the vast majority of people engaging in these habits have absolutely no inkling of their inherent danger. They genuinely believe they are simply relaxing, unwinding after a long day, perhaps even being kind and nurturing towards their bodies. Yet, the stark, undeniable truth corroborated by extensive data compiled by the American Heart Association, paints a profoundly different and alarming picture. Nearly 50% of all fatal cardiac events experienced by adults over the age of 60 tragically occur between the hours of 10 at night and 6 in the morning. That's an astonishing half of all lethal heart incidents striking while you are deep in slumber, while you are utterly defenseless, and while your cherished family members sleep soundly in the next room, oblivious to the silent battle your body might be fighting. This video is not merely going to highlight these perilous nighttime habits. It will meticulously detail each one, dissecting precisely why they prove to be so devastatingly catastrophic for the aging heart and brain. More importantly, it will empower you with concrete, actionable steps you can begin implementing tonight, not next week, not after your next scheduled doctor's appointment, but tonight, to dramatically and significantly reduce your personal risk. Before this presentation concludes, I will meticulously lay out a step-by-step protective routine, one designed to shield your most vital organs during your sleep. All I ask of you is your unwavering attention. Please stay with me through every minute, because what I'm about to unveil in the middle of this video, specifically habit number 3, is something I am firmly convinced is responsible for an overwhelming number of silent, overnight deaths in adults over 60, more so than almost any other single factor. And alarmingly, it is a subject that virtually no one in the general public or even within the medical community is actively discussing or warning patients about. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dr. James Hargrove. I am a board-certified physician, privileged to possess over 3 decades of comprehensive experience in the intricate fields of internal medicine and geriatric health. Throughout my extensive career, I have had the profound, often somber, experience of sitting at the bedsides of countless patients who, against all odds, managed to survive harrowing overnight cardiac events. Conversely, I have also borne the heavy responsibility of delivering the heartbreaking news to families whose loved ones were not so fortunate, succumbing to these silent nocturnal threats. And in all my decades of dedicated practice, a consistent and deeply troubling pattern emerged, appearing with an almost uncanny regularity. The individuals who suffered heart attacks and strokes in their sleep were not always, or even often, the sickest or most critically ill patients under my care. In fact, they were frequently the ones who appeared to be doing quite well, the ones who seemed to be managing their health effectively. They were often individuals who ate reasonably well, perhaps engaged in a little regular exercise, and diligently took their prescribed medications most of the time. However, beneath this veneer of apparent health, they harbored a handful of subtle, yet profoundly dangerous nighttime habits. These habits were quietly, relentlessly, and systematically destroying the very intricate biological systems that were meant to protect them, to rejuvenate them, and to ensure their survival while they rested. I am compelled to share this vital information with you today because you, as an individual, and indeed all adults approaching or past 60, deserve to know what I have witnessed and what the scientific data overwhelmingly supports. The unfortunate reality is that most doctors, constrained by the demanding schedules of modern healthcare, simply do not have the luxury of 12 minutes to sit down and thoroughly walk you through these critical insights in an exam room setting. But this information, let me be unequivocally clear, is not optional. It is not a suggestion or a recommendation. It is an urgent, absolute necessity for your continued health and longevity. Herein lies a crucial understanding that most people, particularly after the age of 60, do not fully grasp about the sleeping body. Sleep is far from a passive state. It is not merely a period of inactivity where your body simply shuts down and rests. On the contrary, your cardiovascular system, in particular, does not simply power down when you lie awake. Instead, it transitions into an incredibly sophisticated and complex biological repair and restoration cycle. During healthy sleep, your blood pressure is naturally programmed to dip, experiencing a crucial nocturnal decline. Your heart rate is designed to slow, settling into a calm, steady rhythm. Simultaneously, your brain actively engages in a vital cleansing process, working diligently to clear out the toxic metabolic waste products that inevitably accumulate during your waking hours. When this intricate process functions correctly, without interference, sleep emerges as the single most powerful and effective form of cardiovascular protection your body inherently possesses. It is a natural defense mechanism. However, when this delicate biological rhythm is disrupted, when certain seemingly innocuous habits interfere with this essential repair cycle, the consequences extend far beyond mere poor sleep quality. The result is not just feeling tired, the result is physiological chaos. Instead of your blood pressure dropping as it should, it may spike erratically. Your arteries, which are meant to relax and expand, instead tighten and constrict. Your blood, which should flow freely and smoothly, thickens, becoming more viscous and prone to sluggish movement. And in a body over 60, where arteries are naturally already stiffer, where the heart is often already working harder to compensate for decades of wear and tear, that physiological chaos can, in a shockingly short span of hours, turn irrevocably fatal. What I am about to reveal goes directly against many common assumptions people hold about sleep and nighttime routines. I implore you to stay with me to digest every single one of these habits, because by the time we arrive at the number one most dangerous habit, you will possess a profound understanding of why so many individuals tragically never see these threats coming. Let us commence with habit number 5, the practice of eating a large or heavy meal within 2 hours of bedtime. Now, I fully acknowledge that you have likely encountered some variation of this warning before, perhaps regarding indigestion or weight gain. However, my aim today is to move beyond general advice and ensure you grasp the profound physiological mechanisms actually occurring within your body, because once you truly comprehend the intricate biological chain of events, you will undoubtedly never view a late-night dinner in the same casual, harmless light again. When you consume a substantial or rich meal in close proximity to your scheduled bedtime, your digestive system is immediately tasked with an enormous, energy-intensive process. This process demands a significant, often enormous, surge of blood flow. Your stomach, your intestines, and your liver, the primary organs involved in digestion and nutrient absorption, all require a substantially increased circulation of blood to efficiently process the food you have just consumed. To meet this urgent demand, your heart is forced to pump much harder and considerably faster. Consequently, your blood pressure rises, surging upwards at the precise moment it is biologically programmed to naturally fall and stabilize for sleep. This clash between physiological demands and natural rhythms creates immense strain. a landmark study which garnered considerable attention upon its publication in the prestigious European Heart Journal, meticulously tracked the health outcomes of more than 100,000 adults over the course of multiple years. The findings revealed a clear, statistically significant, and deeply troubling link between late-night heavy eating and the incidence of nighttime cardiovascular events. The risk was found to be especially pronounced and significantly elevated in adults over the age of 60. But here is an additional, crucial piece of information that regrettably seldom makes it into mainstream headlines. Late-night eating dramatically exacerbates and worsens the symptoms of acid reflux in older adults. And acid reflux, particularly when it occurs at night while lying down, does not merely cause uncomfortable heartburn or indigestion. It can directly stimulate the vagus nerve, a critical nerve pathway that connects the brain to the heart. This stimulation can, in turn, trigger dangerous arrhythmias, which are irregular heart rhythms. In an aging heart, which is often less resilient and more susceptible to disruption, these irregular rhythms are far more likely to escalate into life-threatening cardiac emergencies. Margaret, a vibrant 67-year-old woman, sought my medical counsel after experiencing persistent fatigue and occasional unsettling palpitations at night. Her routine involved eating dinner every evening around 9 p.m., typically a substantial meal, and then heading to bed around 10:30 p.m. She genuinely believed she was in good health, largely because she had never experienced a formal cardiac event. However, a 24-hour heart monitor, worn discreetly, painted a completely different and concerning picture. Her heart was exhibiting repeated irregular rhythms, particularly between midnight and 3 in the morning, consistently every single night. This period precisely coincided with when her body was intensely struggling to digest a meal that was both too large and consumed too late in the evening. We made a simple yet profound adjustment. We shifted her dinner time to 6:30 p.m. and advised her to lighten the portions. Within a mere 3 weeks, her nighttime heart rhythms had normalized entirely. She expressed her astonishment to me, saying, "Dr. Hargrove, I had no idea I was doing that to myself every night." Her reaction is common. Most people don't. The rule for you, then, is unequivocally simple and medically sound. Ensure your last meal is consumed at least 3 hours before you intend to go to sleep. Keep that meal light, consisting of easily digestible foods, and maintain modest portion sizes. By adhering to this, your heart will be allowed to work less, rest more effectively, and ultimately survive longer, functioning optimally during its critical nocturnal repair phase. Now let us transition to habit number 4. This particular habit often elicits a genuine sense of surprise and sometimes even disbelief from almost everyone I discuss it with. It is the act of going to bed even mildly dehydrated. The physiological changes that accompany aging mean that after the age of 60, your body's natural thirst sensation becomes significantly, almost imperceptibly, weaker. What this implies is that you can be in a state of clinical dehydration and yet feel almost nothing in terms of thirst. Your body's internal alarm system for hydration simply doesn't function as effectively. Furthermore, many older adults understandably consciously choose to limit their fluid intake in the evening. Their reasoning, often practical, is to minimize the frequency of disruptive nighttime trips to the bathroom, thereby preserving uninterrupted sleep. While I fully comprehend the logical basis for this decision, it is crucial to confront the medical reality that your pursuit of comfort in this instance unwittingly conceals a significant danger. When your body is dehydrated, even to a mild degree, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. This thicker blood naturally moves more slowly and sluggishly through your intricate network of blood vessels, and slow-moving blood, by its very nature, forms clots far more easily than adequately hydrated blood. Now, consider this in conjunction with the natural slowdown of circulation that occurs during sleep, a period when your heart rate drops and your blood pressure decreases as part of the body's restorative cycle. When you combine thick, slow-moving blood with this physiological deceleration, you have inadvertently created the ideal biological conditions for a dangerous clot to form. Such a clot could then potentially travel to the heart, triggering a heart attack, or migrate to the brain, leading to a stroke. A compelling study published in the esteemed Journal of Cardiovascular Disease meticulously demonstrated that even mild dehydration elevated the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by a staggering margin, more than 60%, in adults over the age of 55. Think about that for a moment. More than 60% increased risk stemming from something as seemingly innocuous as simply not drinking enough water throughout the day. Robert, a 71-year-old retired gentleman, considered himself to be in robust health. He would often proudly declare that he never drank water after 6 p.m. His rationale was simple. It ensured he slept soundly through the night without the need for bathroom visits, and he was keen not to disrupt that precious sleep. One fateful morning, his wife discovered him unresponsive on his side of the bed. He had suffered an ischemic stroke overnight, a devastating event where a clot had blocked a critical artery supplying blood to his brain. His subsequent blood work revealed severely concentrated blood, a clear indicator of dehydration. The hospital medical team unequivocally documented dehydration as a significant contributing factor to his stroke. Robert, thankfully, survived the ordeal, but at a profound cost. He permanently lost the functional use of his right hand. He has since implored me to share his story, driven by a deep desire to prevent anyone else from making the same critical choice he made. The corrective action for this habit is, fortunately, not complicated. Make it a conscious practice to drink a full glass of water 1 to 2 hours before you intend to go to bed. Be sure to use the bathroom right before lying down to empty your bladder. And, as an added safeguard, keep a small glass of water readily accessible on your nightstand should you awaken feeling thirsty during the night. Do not, under any circumstances, sacrifice the delicate and critical balance of your blood chemistry for the sake of an uninterrupted night's sleep. 1 or 2 bathroom trips during the night represent a far, far better outcome than the life-altering consequences of a stroke. Are you finding this information helpful? If you are watching right now and recognize any of these potentially dangerous habits within your own nightly routine or that of a loved one, I sincerely encourage you to type yes in the comments section below. Your simple affirmation tells me that this crucial information is indeed reaching the very people who need it most desperately. Moreover, your comment might just serve as a powerful reminder for someone else who reads it, prompting them to take this information with the seriousness it demands. We are now delving into the top 3 most critical habits, and it is imperative that you understand a fundamental progression. Each of the remaining habits we will discuss is progressively more dangerous and carries a higher risk than the last. Habit number 3 is one that I am firmly convinced is silently claiming lives across this country night after night, often completely undetected. Furthermore, almost no one outside of specialized medical circles truly connects it directly to the incidence of heart attacks and strokes. This habit is undiagnosed sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a chronic and potentially severe medical condition characterized by repeated interruptions in breathing during sleep. It occurs when the airway, which carries air to the lungs, partially or even fully collapses while an individual is asleep, causing breathing to temporarily stop. These breathing pauses can last for various durations, sometimes for a brief 10 seconds, sometimes extending to 30 seconds, and in severe instances, even longer than that. In particularly acute cases, this alarming cessation of breathing can occur hundreds of times throughout a single night, without the individual ever being consciously aware of it. Each time breathing stops, the oxygen levels in the blood precipitously plummet. And each time oxygen drops to dangerously low levels, the brain, perceiving a life-threatening emergency, triggers an immediate and forceful stress response. This innate protective mechanism floods the body with powerful stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Simultaneously, the heart rate spikes dramatically, and blood pressure surges to dangerous heights. Then, within seconds, breathing often spontaneously resumes, oxygen levels return to normal, and the entire devastating cycle begins anew. This relentless physiological assault happens repeatedly, over and over again, hundreds of times each night, all while you believe you are sleeping peacefully and restoratively. Research conducted by the esteemed Johns Hopkins University has unequivocally demonstrated that untreated sleep apnea triples the risk of nighttime heart attacks and an even more alarming quadruples the risk of strokes. Quadruples. These are not minor increases. These are profound escalations in life-threatening risk. Compounding this, studies published in the Journal of the American Medical Association estimate that more than 80% of all moderate to severe cases of sleep apnea in adults over the age of 60 are completely undiagnosed, leaving millions of individuals unwittingly exposed to these grave dangers. The common warning signs, often dismissed as mere annoyances, include loud, chronic snoring that disrupts others, waking up suddenly with a gasping or choking sensation, persistent morning headaches, extreme and unyielding daytime fatigue, regardless of how much sleep you seemingly get, and blood pressure that remains stubbornly difficult to control even with aggressive medication. Donna, a 64-year-old woman, had been a chronic, loud snorer for many years. Her husband, seeking respite, had eventually moved to the guest room. Donna herself viewed her snoring as embarrassing but fundamentally harmless. One particular night, her oxygen level plummeted so severely during an intense sleep apnea episode that her heart developed a dangerous arrhythmia, a chaotic and abnormal heart rhythm. She subsequently woke up, disoriented, in the emergency room. The cardiologist informed her that she had come within minutes of not waking up at all, emphasizing the profound gravity of her situation. She now diligently uses a CPAP device, a machine that helps keep her airway open during sleep, and as a direct result, her nighttime blood pressure has dropped an impressive 22 points. She often refers to her CPAP machine as the machine that saved her marriage and her life. If you snore regularly and loudly, if you consistently wake up feeling utterly exhausted, no matter how long you have slept, please, I implore you, talk to your doctor about undergoing a sleep study. This is not a matter of choice. This is an urgent, potentially life-saving intervention, and I am about to reveal something even more critically important in just a moment, so please continue to stay with me. Habit number 2 is one that almost every adult over 60, if we are being entirely honest, is guilty of at least occasionally. Yet, the consequences of this particular oversight are far more severe and potentially catastrophic than most people truly comprehend or realize. I am referring to the act of skipping, delaying, or mistiming prescribed blood pressure or heart medication. Your blood pressure, a vital physiological parameter, does not maintain a constant level throughout the day. Instead, it follows a precise and intricate biological rhythm across a continuous 24-hour cycle. In the early morning hours, typically between 3 and 6 a.m., your body instinctively prepares to awaken. During this period, levels of the stress hormone cortisol naturally begin to rise. Your heart rate incrementally increases, and consequently, your blood pressure steadily climbs. This phenomenon is scientifically known as the morning surge, and in individuals whose medication, specifically designed to control blood pressure, has worn off or diminished in effectiveness overnight, this morning surge can become an incredibly dangerous, even catastrophic event. The heightened pressure can cause atherosclerotic plaques, which are fatty deposits within the arteries, to rupture. This rupture can then trigger the rapid formation of blood clots, leading directly to heart attacks and strokes. Studies published in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet and subsequently replicated across numerous large-scale clinical trials have unequivocally demonstrated that taking blood pressure medication at nighttime rather than in the morning significantly reduces the risk of cardiovascular events during sleep by nearly 45%. Nearly half. This is a profound reduction in risk. And yet, despite this compelling evidence, the vast majority of prescriptions are still, by default, written as take once daily in the morning. This is largely due to conventional prescribing habits, not because it represents the optimal timing for providing crucial nighttime protection. I am absolutely not advocating that you unilaterally change your medication routine without first consulting your healthcare provider. What I am emphatically telling you is to proactively initiate that conversation with your doctor. Ask your doctor specifically whether a bedtime dosing schedule might be a number one deadliest nighttime habit in adults over 60. This is the habit I specifically promised to unveil at the very beginning of this video. It is the one that I, based on my decades of clinical experience and extensive review of medical literature, believe is singularly responsible for more preventable overnight deaths than almost anything else we've discussed. And perhaps most astonishingly, it is the one that almost no one talks about, primarily because, on the surface, it doesn't appear dangerous at all. This habit is sleeping in a room that is too warm. I absolutely need you to remain fully engaged and present with me here, because I understand that this might sound almost too simplistic, too trivial to be deadly. However, the scientific evidence underpinning this claim is absolutely bulletproof and irrefutable. When you sleep in a room where the ambient temperature is too warm, specifically above 72 degrees F or approximately 22 degrees C, your body is forced to work continuously throughout the entire night to actively release excess heat. This isn't a passive process. To achieve this, the blood vessels in your skin dilate, expanding to allow heat to escape more efficiently. Critically, your heart rate, instead of dropping into its protective, restorative nighttime rhythm, remains elevated, working harder than it should. You may also begin to sweat, leading to a gradual loss of fluids, which in turn further thickens your blood, exacerbating the risks we discussed with dehydration. Furthermore, your sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented, robbing your body of the essential, deep restorative stages it desperately needs to repair and rejuvenate your cardiovascular system. And perhaps, most critically of all, your blood pressure, which is supposed to experience a natural and vital dip during sleep, never achieves this protective nocturnal decline. Extensive research conducted by Harvard Medical School, alongside compelling data published in the European Heart Journal, have both independently identified elevated sleeping temperatures as a significant independent risk factor for nighttime cardiovascular events, particularly in adults over 60. But here is a crucial nuance that most people fail to realize. Extreme cold can be just as dangerous. Temperatures dropping below 60 degrees F or approximately 15 degrees C cause blood vessels to constrict sharply. This constriction dramatically increases vascular resistance, meaning the heart must pump with significantly greater force and effort to push blood through these narrowed vessels. In arteries that are already stiffened and compromised by age, this sudden and intense constriction can cause existing atherosclerotic plaques to crack or rupture, thereby triggering the formation of a clot and, within a matter of hours, a potentially fatal heart attack. The optimal sleeping temperature range, the physiological sweet spot that allows your heart rate to drop naturally, your blood pressure to dip as it should, and your sleep to reach its deepest, most restorative and healing phases, is remarkably precise. It lies specifically between 65 and 68 degrees F or 18 to 20 degrees C. This is not about subjective comfort or personal preference. This is fundamentally about cardiovascular physiology. A room that feels perfectly fine to you, perhaps just 2 or 3 degrees too warm, might seem innocuous. But your heart, your brain, and your intricate cardiovascular system know the critical difference. They are meticulously attuned to these subtle environmental shifts, and they react accordingly. Now, as promised, I want to equip you with the protective nighttime routine. This routine is not only simple to implement, but also remarkably affordable, requiring little more than your conscious attention and commitment. If you commit to following it consistently, the robust body of research suggests it can reduce your risk of a nighttime cardiovascular event by more than 40%. This is a significant, life-altering percentage. Let's walk through it step by step, ensuring you have a clear blueprint for action starting tonight. At 6:30 in the evening, make this the time you eat your last meal of the day. Prioritize a light, easily digestible meal consisting of lean protein and plenty of vegetables. Absolutely avoid anything heavy, greasy, or fried. After this meal, your only consumption should be water. At 8 p.m., drink a full glass of water. This is crucial for maintaining proper hydration without overloading your bladder too close to bedtime. At this time, also take any prescribed medications exactly as your doctor has directed. To ensure unwavering compliance, set a phone alarm. This simple act will help guarantee you never miss a critical dose. At 9 p.m., consciously begin the process of winding down. This means consciously disengaging from activities that stimulate your nervous system. Avoid emotionally charged television programs, steer clear of arguments or stressful phone calls, and resist the urge to engage in demanding mental work. Instead, dim the lights throughout your home. This subtle environmental cue helps signal to your nervous system that it's time to shift from an alert, active state to a more relaxed, preparatory mode for sleep. At 9:30 p.m., adjust your bedroom thermostat to the optimal range, precisely 66 degrees F, approximately 19 degrees C. Place a small glass of water on your nightstand, just in case you awaken with thirst. If you have any suspicion that you might be suffering from sleep apnea, make a conscious effort to position yourself to sleep on your side using a pillow to provide adequate support for your neck. This can help keep your airway more open. At 10 p.m., make a final trip to the bathroom, ensuring your bladder is completely empty before you lie down for the night. Take any final medications that are scheduled for this time. As you settle into bed, take 5 slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This simple, mindful practice actively engages and activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest branch of your autonomic nervous system, and begins signaling your heart rate to drop naturally, preparing your entire body for restorative sleep. This protective routine remarkably costs you nothing financially except your mindful attention and consistent effort. The profound return on that investment, however, is immeasurable. A cardiovascular system that is actively protected rather than dangerously stressed while you sleep. I want to leave you with one final, deeply important thought before you depart. Your heart, this tireless, incredible organ, has been faithfully beating for you every single minute of every single day, relentlessly, for 6, 7, even 8 decades. It has never once asked for a day off. It has never stopped without first trying to warn you. But the warnings it sends are often subtle, easily missed, and most people, regrettably, are not listening closely enough until it is tragically too late. You are not broken. Your body is not giving up on you, but it desperately needs you to be intentional, to be proactive about these critical nighttime hours. Because what you choose to do in the last 2 hours before you surrender to sleep is profoundly shaping what your heart and brain will experience for the next 8 hours. I challenge you, therefore, to follow this routine for just 30 nights, a mere 30 nights. And I am absolutely confident that you will not only feel a tangible difference in your energy levels, but also observe improvements in your morning blood pressure readings and a remarkable enhancement in the overall quality of your sleep in ways you haven't experienced in years. I urge you to share this video with someone you love tonight. Send it to a spouse, a sibling, a cherished friend who perhaps lives alone and might be particularly vulnerable. You may never truly know whose life you just protected, whose future you safeguarded simply by passing this vital information along. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now. Every single week, I meticulously release content specifically designed to empower adults over 60 to live longer, stronger, healthier, and more independently. Hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you never miss a video that could genuinely transform your well-being. Please, take a moment to write in the comments below, what is your age and from where in the world are you watching this vital message? I personally read every single comment, and I find immense satisfaction in knowing that this critical information is truly reaching people who genuinely need it and can benefit from it. Your heart, let's be realistic, won't miraculously heal itself from years of accumulated nighttime stress overnight, but it can and will begin its journey of recovery tonight. Start today. This is Dr. James Hargrove, and I sincerely look forward to seeing you in the next empowering video.